third rendition of morning writing that was purposely split in two. One with the introduction to just getting things done. Keep a log on your end. I'll keep a log on my end because there were things that I just couldn't screen share for or wouldn't be on camera for because I had to leave the room slash apartment because it is one room. And but now we're back for part two, which is the wrap-up chat portion. So I do have on my end the Twitch video open. Oh, let me.
97% humidity with fruit tea sleep and shine.
I hit pause and I hit mute.
No
What the hell, Twitch? Okay. And it's not pausing and it's not muting. Oh, fine. Finally it paused. Okay. Check on YouTube to see what's going on with the live events. Just to make sure that I have the chat open. So that I can see the chats in Twitch and YouTube. All right. So the wrap-up chat, the way it usually works, is that during the 2 hours, I would have been screen sharing the whole time, and I would have kept a running log in my Google spreadsheet on screen. All the while, you would have been keeping your log of what you got done in the chat on YouTube or Twitch. But I didn't stream during the morning writing time, except to give a brief introduction to today because there's just been a lot of hubbubaloo going on with my own schedule that I am currently working to move things around and restructure things to get back into the groove of morning writing now that I have a job that has disrupted my schedule more than I had anticipated. But there is still my overall routines. For anyone concerned about the fact that I have OCD, my overall routines and systems, it has not disrupted that too much. I have been able to go to the grocery store and do some very light meal planning to make sure that I had pack lunches and snacks with me on the job, and to make sure that I'm out of there in a timely manner and able to handle the things that I need to handle outside of work in order to go back to work and, behave myself, as it were. But what we have at the moment is the brief summary. So the wrap-up chat usually begins with a brief summary where I go into the what I got done with a little bit of the how, little bit of the why, particularly with how it pertains to the morning writing, if it wasn't specifically writing. And then I'll pop into the chats on YouTube and Twitch to see your accountability log and whether you were writing along or just watching along or waiting along. Now is also a good time, while I'm giving my brief summary, now is a great time to go ahead and pop things into the chat so that after my brief summary, I can talk to you about your creative projects, my creative projects, and the creative process in general. So any comments or questions you have about that, go ahead and start popping those into the chat, and any accountability items that you would like to log into the chat as well. So my part of accountability first is my brief summary. So I have here that I started off with schedule shuffling. So I added my commitments to my summer schedule, everything going to the end of August, committing to the family trip, committing to the local chorus I'm a part of, committing to the work hours, and actually I do need to go and double check with my boss that he has the trip that I'm taking to go see my family, that he has something set up at least for those dates, since I'm not going to be on the schedule those dates. But the schedule that he has created outside of those dates, I'm 100% squared away on. Then I updated my July and August calendars to reflect those new to have the work schedule on it. Cleared up everything else that I had scheduled in my calendar. So there's the week schedule that I have. Let me show you. So this is my schedule for the week. So just the block schedule that I worked on first, making sure my commitments are in there, getting things more specific as to what I'm doing in my morning writing time, which I have labeled here as Bremerton, for various reasons. Just getting the things that need to be 100% in my 7-day week, every week, which are the shifts that I'm working, when lunch happens, when dinner happens, little notes to myself where work disrupts that schedule so that I can have those snacks and meals with me at work, basically to eat behind the counter while working the register. And where in the schedule I'm doing groceries, where in the schedule I'm doing meal prep, and also where in the schedule I'm going to chorus and going to Prov Slam. And I'm also probably going to be putting in there a little bit of the follow-up for chorus. I might have to designate a particular morning. I am going to designate. I have basically 5 mornings a week. The 5 weekdays mornings are going to be okay for morning writing. I have to decide which of those mornings I'm going to spend off camera doing work, because there are things that, for privacy reasons, I'm not going to share online, and for reasons of publishers being finicky about whether or not a work is previously published, not wanting to accidentally screen share something, have it considered previously published, and then not be able to get it published in a literary journal. So balancing that. And so then I put my work schedule into my calendar for the month of July and August. So I used to have a 2-page spread that was morning, 3 columns of morning, and then the other column was the other side of the page was 3 columns of one for the afternoon, one for the evening, and one for personal items of note. And I've actually changed up my schedule so that I have 3 columns for morning, afternoon, and evening. So morning would be like the 3 primary tasks that need to be handled during the morning writing. Then the afternoon tasks are anything I'm having to leave the house to go do, including my work schedule, including going grocery shopping or running errands. And then these first 2 columns are things that I am doing at home, basically afternoon writing if I'm working on catching up on something from the morning writing. And then the second column are the sort of in-betweens, those deadlines that come up. Also, friggin' tracking shipments, which we're going to get into. So basically, first column is being in the house, third column of items is out of the house, and the column in the middle is that transition there where the outside world in some way is coming into the apartment, which is whether I'm waiting on a package, waiting on a meeting of some kind that's going to happen on the phone, on the computer, just somehow I'm in my home taking meetings, having packages delivered, or meeting certain writing deadlines. So this will also probably end up being some of the time that gets spent doing a lot of in the afternoon when I'm volunteering. It'll probably happen on Thursday afternoons. Whoa, why did you... It'll happen on Thursday afternoons. They're on the calendar. And then my evening calendar is basically I'm either staying in, going out, or just have some sort of note of self-care that is part of my decision making in am I staying in or going out. So I don't usually plan things in the evening besides Prov Slam and chorus rehearsal. I should probably put chorus rehearsal on this portion of the schedule. And I can't believe that I forgot to do that. So I will make a note to myself to do that. And yeah, so then after I got all of my commitments into my weekly block schedule, I then took the block schedule and applied it to my 3-page calendar spreads for both July and August to make sure that they're all in there, so that when people are asking me, are you free on such and such a date? Is such and such a time on such and such a day good for you? I'll know, because it's on the goddamn calendar. And then I spent the rest of my time doing some packaging checks. And I'm not screen sharing right now, so I can actually... I actually just got an email. Fan-freaking-tastic. Okay, so... That's not what I clicked. iPad. So I had a package that was delayed. It was supposed to get delivered on the 17th, then they moved it to the 14th, which was Saturday, I believe, and I was at work, and the offices weren't open, so then it got sent over on the 17th, which was yesterday, and somebody signed for it, and I have no idea who that person was. So I basically went down to my landlord's office to check for it again, went down to the mailroom to check for it again. Somebody from my landlord's office let me into the building next door because they also own that building, so I could check that mailroom, and it wasn't there. I should have... Yeah. And then I came home, emailed my neighbors here in my building to double check with them. I had already sent an email to my landlord last night, and then I chatted with FedEx, got information with them, got a case number going because they were going to double check with the driver, like, who signed for my package? Nobody ever signs for packages from FedEx. You just get buzzed into the building and they're just left in the main office. That's... So when I saw that somebody signed for it, that, like, immediately sent off alerts, like, it can't possibly be here. Somebody has signed for it and it's just gone. But I just got an email from my landlord. So just gonna respond. Hooray and thank you. So she is, it's at a third building that my landlord owns. It got scooped up with a bunch of packages for them, which was something that somebody from my landlord's office had. It's like, there was a huge pile of packages here yesterday and they're all gone now, so maybe it accidentally wound up over there. And it did. It did. That's exactly what happened. And I was just so nervous that I didn't walk over to that building to check. I went straight to the digital things that I could check as a way of calming down, because it actually, I had to do a lot of calming down just to go down to my landlord's office and then go over to the building next door. So to go down the street to the other building, I knew that I was going to need to calm down first and try other methods of finding the package before heading over there. So it turns out that my landlord's going over there to get that for me instead. So thank God, because that was terrifying. Yeah, so that means that my plan to go grocery shopping this afternoon has not been disrupted, because that was an actual fear, waiting on the call back from FedEx regarding the case number. It's like, we'll call you back sometime before 5:30. It's like, that means I have to wait at home at 5 till 5:30 on a Wednesday when I go grocery shopping in the afternoon. And my little OCD brain's like, all right. So we're doing this Thursday, but what if they don't call? And then they leave a call, but it says that they're going to have to call me Thursday. And then my grocery shopping is getting more and more and more. And so fun with OCD, where your brain just goes immediately. So there's that. And now I am popping into the chats because my brief summary is done. And now it is time for me to see what's going on YouTube and Twitch. YouTube, it doesn't seem like there's anything here. And here on Twitch, Nico 2001 says, nice tea. Thank you. This is my Wrath of Khan t-shirt. My sister got me this because of the Penrose Trekkie project. It says, Khan! All the way around, which I like very much. I don't know if you can see that because I clicked away from the screen. Oh yeah, you can. It says Khan. All the way around. So, Khan, in Wrath of Khan terms, is an incredibly tragic figure, and I appreciate that character very much. But I was more than a little let down by his character in the reboot movies because you didn't have the introduction of, oh no, I'm blanking on her name, and that's terrible because her character was so fantastic. There was a particular historian who she liked that kind of guy. The kind of guy, that rough and assertive guy that Khan is. And because she is a woman of his future, centuries apart, she had this way of balancing him out, which was part of the reason, genius that he was, left alone on the planet they were on. I think he was satisfied not trying to get off that planet because he could have very easily figured out a way to get on that planet, but they lived there for years, and then a thing happened that caused it to become a desert planet, caused her to become, and ultimately led to her death. And that was when she became furious, and that was when he became furious with Kirk and started planning to go after Kirk. And it was a desert planet, and he figured out how to get their paths crossed. I mean, it was just great. And he's a tragic figure and was completely capable of, under the right, I'm sorry, this I believe is FedEx. Hello? Hello? I'm Rosemarie. Yes, I was finally able to track someone down who knew what happened to the package, so I am all good to go. Thank you so very much for calling me. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye. That poor gentleman um, had quite the stutter. How? It must not usually be part of his job description that he handles discussing anything with people on the phone. Um, Poor thing. But luckily, my package has been discovered, because if my package had not been discovered and I had to talk to him, I'm not sure I would have had the patience to listen, and that would have been terrible. His stutter and my OCD panic attack mode going into angry mode would not have been a great combo. So I am very happy for him that my package was located elsewhere, so that I did not end up growling at that poor fellow. All right. So, yes. But Khan is a tragic figure. I love Khan a lot. And without his wife's character as part of the reboot, without her being introduced in any way, and they're just kind of hammering home Khan, ultimate villain. It's like part of the reason he was the ultimate villain, like, he was a very reasonable guy. Of course he was going to, commit mutiny the first time he met Kirk in the original series. genetically primed to do that, to assert himself as the dominant in whatever situation he's in. And at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, he very logically said, I'll go down to that planet peacefully. And he said to the woman, I hope you'll come with me. He referred to her as a superior woman every time he talked about her and to her. This woman from the future who had not been genetically altered, but who he considered superior. And superiority was just this thing that he was always geared toward. And so for her to naturally evoke that response from him was really powerful. And then she dies on the alien planet, and that's when this guy who is genetically predisposed to be stronger physically, to be more agile mentally, and therefore very logical, which is part of the reason he was willing to go down on that planet and build his own society there and be the leader there, completely satisfying that very alpha urge that had been cranked up to 11 in his brain. But everything about the eugenics program he was a part of amplified everything about who they were. Not just their physical strength, not just their mental abilities, but also by amplifying the mind, amplifying their emotive abilities. So that when he loved her probably more intensely than she could have imagined. And then that just crushing weight of losing her. Oh my God. That would have... I mean, people go to extraordinary lengths when they are suddenly tragically ripped from the ones that they care about. And so you take someone whose every aspect of their humanity has been amplified, so he's actually more human than any of us, while also being less human. He was just an incredibly, incredibly tragic figure. And we lost all that richness in the reboot because we only saw somebody riffing on this idea of his being the ultimate villain. But he was the ultimate villain because he cared about his wife. Because he missed the ever-loving fuck out of her. So that is all that's in the Twitch chat. I'm going to pop over to the YouTube chat, see if anything was added there. It doesn't look like it. It's 11:24 now, which means the timer for the wrap-up chat is about to go off on my phone. The alarm for it, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Roaster Music, your live stream writing accountability partner, and I promise I am working on a set what days of the week schedule that I'll be live streaming from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours of live stream writing accountability, followed by our half-hour Max-ish Air What You Did wrap-up chat. I am going to get this squared away, and I really encourage you to just keep an eye on this channel, keep an eye on it, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, because we are going to be back. We are going to be here regularly. And when that happens, I really encourage you to come back and talk in our wrap-up chats about your creative projects, my creative projects, and the creative process in general. Because the more we can talk about what it is we're working on and how it is we're working on it, the more we can iterate on the what and the how and just tell better stories all around, whether it's the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we're telling each other, or the stories we're telling together as a family, collective, society, community. And little by little, in improving all those stories, build a better world through better storytelling. It's my hope anyway. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Good journey, my friends.